Welcome to the IntelliHR System Settings training video. On the left-hand side of your screen, when you log in as a system administrator, you've got the ability to access settings and then system settings. A few key areas of the platform that you are able to configure in the system settings is, first of all, around the branding, which will let you change your organization name, which is displayed in any email messages and some page titles, as well as the email from name, which will appear in the outgoing emails. Now, these outgoing emails could be anything from global notifications to form design reminders or goals as well. And you do, just beneath that as well, have the ability to change the subdomain of your profile. Now, what you'll see here is that this changes the URL at the top of your screen, and this would just change where people log into the platform as well. Beneath that, you've got the ability to set what your default country is, as well as a default currency. And this will be pushed out to everyone using the platform by default. But on everyone's individual account, when they log in under settings and account settings, they do also have the ability to change their individual language, as well as the date or time that they have on their individual tenant as well. Moving back to system setting, just beneath country, we do also have some people information here. And this one is just changing the name display that we have, or the format there. Now, by default, it will be preferred first and then last, but you do have the ability to change it to a range of other display names as well, depending on what your organization would typically use. Beneath that as well, you do have the ability to switch off employee numbers or the auto incrementing IntelliHR IDs, depending on what you want people to see in the business. And under the profile that you have as well, you'll see both the employee number and the IntelliID. And you do have the ability to change these, or who can see or update this information via permissions. But what the system setting will do will either just turn that off for everyone or keep them both on as well. So depending on your needs, you've got the ability to change that there. Beneath that, you've got the data confidence date, which is regarding your analytics. And what this will do is limit any people data on or after the date that you specify. And if no data confidence date is set, it will default to 12 months before today. So when you uploaded your data, if there is a date where you're confident in the integrity of the data moving forward, you've got the ability to put that date in there, so you're not risking looking back at any analytics data that isn't up to date, or you're not confident in the integrity of that data. Beneath that, you've got the organization objectives. Now, this is an awesome feature here that we'll have individual training on as well. But in the organization objectives from this page, you've got the ability to switch that on, and you'll find that under organization. And then if I refresh that, what you'll see is that we have organization and organization objectives, where you've got the ability to set those top level org objectives, and then you can use goals for individual people and teams as well to align up to that. So a really great feature to start using for some performance, and you can look at our individual training for that as well. Underneath that, we've got a few key features around goals in the platform. The first of which is choosing the ability to have a goal weight enabled, as well as setting the goal approval process. And then beneath that as well, you've got the ability to either choose to send an email to a person's supervisor when a goal is created, or you can switch that off if you don't want them to get a goal. Now, when we're looking at goals in the IntelliHR platform, on the top right, you can create a goal here. And what you'll see for the goal weight, that one that we just switched on, you'll see that here as well. So if it is helpful for you to have a weight in that goal, you can switch that on. But if it's not, you've got the ability just to switch that off there as well. Just beneath that as well, like we went through earlier, you've got the default language in the platform, but people can change their own individual language as well. And then we do also have the default time zone here that we're setting to, as well as a default date format and time format based on what your organization would typically use. And this would just be displayed across different areas of the platform. Beneath that, you've got some operational settings, and the first of which is the business days. Now, if you're an organization who only works Monday through Friday, make sure you don't have the Saturday and Sunday boxes ticked on, as these will be used for the task due dates, reminders, escalations, and auto ignores in the form designs. So if you've only got Monday through Friday, you won't be counting Saturday and Sunday as a part of those days where people should be completing forms as well. Just beneath that, we do have the ability to enable or disable probation in the platform. And if you do enable it, you've got the ability to change what the default probation months are. And you'll see that on someone's profile. On their job tab, just next to their company start date, you'll see now that that probation end date by default is 6 months after their start date. But you do have the ability to change this as well. Beneath that, we've got remuneration display, which will always be by default on a recommended, but if you would like to specify the amount of decimal points that you have across the whole organization, you've got the ability to change that too, as well as prorated salary for any part-time staff, that if you do have their annual package, what that'll do is just multiply that by the job's FTE to make sure that we can see that prorated salary. Beneath that, you've got the ability to change whether you can see GIFs in the platform or not. And by default, it will be on the fun recommended, which will show in areas like the gold comments, the ability to choose and search for a GIF. But you do have the ability to switch that on standard if that's not something that your organization would like to have available for your staff. Just beneath that as well, we've got the organization chart configuration where you can choose to switch on organization chart sharing. And where you'll see that is in your people and the organization chart. On the top right-hand side of the screen, you'd have the ability to share your organization chart with people outside of the platform. Now, this won't give them access to other areas in the platform, only this organization chart where they can look around. Beneath that, if you are on strategic HR and this is part of your contract, you will also have the ability to enable contract offer making. And under contract offer making, you've got the ability to configure different contract templates and then send this out to people in your organization. And from here, you just got the ability to toggle that on or off based on your requirements. Beneath that, you've got the supervisor early access period, and this will come into effect that if you do have a supervisor and they've got a employee who's changing into their team, if you would like them to have that supervisor access earlier than the date of that change, you've got the ability to set that up here as well. That if you do want to keep that off and you don't want them to have any early access, you've got the ability just to switch that off and record that as 0 as well. Finally, our last two settings that we have is just around single sign-on, where you've got the ability for your employees either to log in via password or SSO, or you can choose to force SSO if that's the only way that you do want people logging in. And then finally, we've just got a few logos and images, the first of which is the organization logo, which will display on the login screen, as well as any emails and forms that are sent in the platform as well. You do also have the login splash image as well, which will be displayed on the other side of the splash screen as well, which is a really nice place to have an image that is really well aligned to your organization. And then finally, we've got the default person profile cover image here as well, which you can set a default profile cover image for everyone. For example, Liana, and you can see she's got a profile image and then she's got this cover splash on the background as well. But via permissions, we do have the ability for her to set her own cover there as well. And these are all of the system settings for your IntelliHR platform as a system administrator to configure. And there are plenty of other settings and areas of the platform as well that we've got individual training videos on if you are looking to learn more as well.